All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
I just graduated from a flip phone to a smartphone. I finally got in the 21st century. I got my smartphone. My wife, she showed me everything, how to use it. She told me everything about it, how to take pictures, text, everything. 1 week later, I forgot everything she told me. But it's okay, because very few people call me, and I don't hardly ever call nobody. I told people, I think my flip phone's the loneliest, my smartphone's the loneliest smartphone in the world. It's so lonely, I picked it up one day, and I think I seen some teardrops running down it, and I dried the tears. I said, look here, one of these days somebody will make you ring, don't cry. But I was in the mall, not long ago after that, I was walking around the mall, and everybody was talking on their smartphones. And I didn't want to be an oddball, so I took mine out and pretended like I was talking to somebody. I just didn't want to be an oddball, And then a little bit later on, everybody was texting, I didn't want to be an oddball. I pretended like I was texting somebody, I just didn't want to stand out, like an oddball, But I got a smartphone, but I don't know nothing about it. It's about like a flip phone, And one of these days, I'll learn how to do it. That's kind of short. Okay, I got one more. Let me know,
Go ahead.
Okay.
We're good.
All the recent hurricanes, my heart goes out to all the people hit with the hurricanes. Pete knows what's coming. My heart goes out to every one of them. I pray every day for all the people hit with the hurricane. But it reminds me back in 1989 when Hurricane Hugo came through Charlotte. Me and my wife got out of bed about 5 o'clock that morning, opened the door. Trees was blowing all the way down to the ground and coming back up. Some of them was just uprooted, and pulled out of the ground. TV announcer, he said, do not leave your house for no reason whatsoever. He said, this is an emergency. Do not leave your house. You could get killed or seriously injured. He said that about 3 or 4 times. We shut the door. And I went back out to the closet and started putting my city uniform on. My wife told us, what are you getting ready to do? I said, I am not going to let a little high wind mess up my perfect attendance. So I put my city uniform on, I'm getting ready to walk out the door. My wife said, let me give you a hug, because I'll probably never see you again. I told her, I said, don't be silly, no, just don't be silly, because I weighed between 350 and 400 pounds, and I had a 69 Chevrolet Impala, it's got a great big heavy engine in it. I said, there's no way that wind is going to do anything to me and my car. She said, when I was walking out the door, she said, it's been nice knowing you. I said, don't be silly, don't be silly. I walked out the door. As soon as I walked out the door, the wind blew my hat 3 blocks down the road. And I said, oh, that's no big deal, no big deal, So I got in my car, and I was driving up Florida Avenue, up Matheson. When I was going down the plaza, the wind picked up, started shaking my car back and forth, I said, well, no big deal, no big deal. Then when I got on Parkwood Avenue, right down Parkwood Avenue, the winds got so strong, it picked my car up in the air about 5 feet, and I was flying down Parkwood Avenue. I said, oh, Jesus, 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 oh, God, I know I ain't been to church in a while. I said, but, oh, Lord, I'll be back Sunday if you just let my car down, And I flew about 3 or 4 blocks, it scared me so bad. I didn't know if I was going to wind up in South Carolina or Georgia or where, it scared me so bad. Then the winds died down, and it finally went down to the road. I turned around and went back home. Walked in the front door. My wife said, she said, well? I said, well, nothing. She said, I said, I'm too scared to say anything right now. I went back to bed, got under the covers. I was so scared I put the covers over the top of my head. But I hadn't been to church in a while, and I'd lost the fear of God. But I guarantee you one thing, that put the fear of God back in my life, and I've been back in church ever since then. That's just a couple, you know.